Ukraine attacks Twitter, or its users, directly. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is another declaration of truth from your host, Terry A. Hurlbut. Over the last 2 days, several Twitter accounts received 12-hour lock notices, accusing them of breaking the Twitter rules. All account holders were conservative, and all had recently criticized the state visit by Ukraine's head of state, Volodymyr Zelensky. When these suspensions began, conservatives took alarm, and Twitter CEO Elon Musk professed puzzlement. I can now report the solution to the mystery, or at least the most likely solution. Ukraine hacked Twitter and made it look as though the arbitrary and capricious rules enforcement had returned. Before I share with you the evidence leading me to that conclusion, and others, by the way, I do want to shout out to the prime sponsor of this channel, which is Conservative News and Views. Link in the description. Be sure to check out the awesome CNAV Store. Scroll down near the bottom of that link. You'll find lots of great merchandise there, especially this t-shirt that I have chosen for today, which quotes Plato saying, "No one is more hated than he who speaks the truth." We see here another attack on the truth. One more thing. If you like what you're about to hear, you can like this video. You can also click the bell icon to get a notice every time I come out with a new one. In fact, do you see that little icon? It's a heart shape with a US dollar sign in it. That's the super thanks icon. If you really want to keep these videos coming, click that and leave me a tip. Any currency will do, so long as it's legal tender. There we are. Now, as I've told you before, the Twitter rules have one major change only: rescission of the medical misinformation policy, specifically as regards the virus that shall remain nameless. Beyond that, Twitter has one big policy change: no more enforcement of unwritten rules, nor selective application of the written rules. Twitter Files Releases 3, 4, and 5 detail the gradual change of policy from a rules-based policy to a totally arbitrary and capricious one, in which what Yoel Roth said went. Yoel Roth served as head of global trust and safety at Twitter until Elon Musk fired him. The release of the Twitter files had one definite intent: to reveal a sorry history that Elon Musk wanted to reveal. I believe it might also have had the intent of assuring conservatives that the new Twitter leadership had discontinued such arbitrary and capricious enforcement, selective applications of the rules, and some of the more absurd rules. The sudden flurry of suspensions cast doubt on Musk's sincerity, effectiveness, or both. The mass suspensions apparently began shortly after Zelensky came to the United States on Wednesday and addressed a joint session of Congress. Zelensky demanded more money, saying the billions already provided were not enough and would never be enough. Congress included another $45 billion for Ukraine in its $1.7 trillion omnibus spending bill. And then, to add insult to injury, Zelensky brought an autographed Ukrainian flag into the House and unfurled it. He also accepted an apparently unseemly public display of affection from Representative Nancy Pelosi of California, the outgoing Speaker of the House. I have links in the description to 2 videos, one from the Officer Tatum here on YouTube, the other from the Post-Millennial on Rumble, showing that spectacle. Conservatives on Twitter reacted at once in shock and outrage. The chief source of the outrage was not the PDA from Pelosi, but the unfurling of a foreign flag in the well of the House, and to Speaker Pelosi and Vice President Kamala Harris holding that flag high while he spoke. And almost at once, those accounts drew 12-hour locks or temporary suspensions. One of the first to fall was Bow-Tied Ranger. He tweeted a snapshot of Pelosi and Harris holding up that flag, and he said, quote, "This picture makes me want Russia to win," unquote, Bow-Tied Ranger. I have a link to the tweet in the description. And almost immediately he drew a 12-hour lock. Not for saying that the spectacle made him want Russia to win, but for the flag image. Now, hold that thought. Jack Posobiec shared a screen cap of the suspension notice. I have a link in the description of that too. Now get this. The grounds the so-called moderators allegedly cited were sharing privately produced or distributed intimate media without the consent of the subject. But the image Bow-Tied Ranger shared was not an intimate image of anyone. Another account holder reported a suspension for the same image. It was a flag. And I have a link to that tweet too, and to 4 more tweets from users sharing their dismay and suspicion that Twitter had returned to pre-Musk form. Eventually, Posobiec reported hearing from multiple account holders having the same issue, and yes, I have the link to that in the description. Then it happened to a user I've cited here before, the one going by the initials ALX. That's when Elon Musk replied, link in the description, that he, Musk, did not find that image in violation of any rules. Then, the third user replying to Elon said he knew that sleeper woke agents would turn out to be still at Twitter, and he blamed them. Yes, I have a link to that too. There's more. Before I get to it, I want to shout out to a sponsor who can really help you through the economic storms to come. That sponsor is OurSilverLines.com. Do you feel like you're working harder for your money just to get by? You are not alone. The fluctuating economy, employment issues, and unexpected changes in life have left many families struggling over the past few years. Collecting gold and silver can help shield you against many of these challenges. But if you're like me many years ago, you don't know where or how to start. Our Silver Lines helps by connecting you with thousands of members who are learning the secrets to creating and protecting true wealth by collecting precious metals. Now, whether you just want to collect rare and unique coins or take advantage of the business opportunities this company provides, either way, they can help you learn to live an exceptional life. Visit OurSilverLines.com. Learn how you can build a legacy for your future. Now, a user named Colin Rugg wondered whether the FBI still had sleepers at Twitter with moderational access. That started a thread. Rugg, Elon, and back to Rugg, who, in the last tweet, listed several accounts that had lost their privileges. I am happy to report that last time I checked, all the accounts Rugg listed had received their privileges back. I have links in the description to 3 tweets to that thread. Libby Emmons at the Post-Millennial took up the story last night. In addition to some of the tweets above that I just talked about, she shared 3 more, and I have them all in the description. The names are Jack Posobiec, William Wolf, and the Columbia Bugle. All of them reported the same thing. They or someone they knew had shared the snapshot of those 2 women holding up that Ukraine flag, and then they got slapped with a 12-hour lock for sharing intimate media without the consent of the subject. The uniformity and the inappropriateness of the stated ground itself raised suspicions. Finally, Kristen Ruby, a former Twitter employee who earlier shared her insight into how the moderational algorithm worked, shared a tweet, which I have a link in the description, saying, and I quote, "The answer is in the ML. Based on the data, the tweet does violate Twitter's former political misinfo policy, Ray, detection and param list. If those parameters are not gutted or retrained, this will keep happening. The algorithm is doing exactly what it was trained to do," unquote, Kristen Ruby. So, Whiskey Tango Foxtrot is this ML she talked about. The abbreviation ML could stand for machine language or for meta language, a recognized language for writing heuristic algorithms. Yes, I know. Heuristic what? A heuristic algorithm works by finding things and acting on them. The term comes from the Greek word heurisko, meaning I find. In fact, can you guess what other word we get from that verb? An ancient Greek word that has found its way into our language as an expression of joy, usually at having found something that we lost. Oh, come on, you know the word is eureka, which means I found it. Anyway, automatic moderation of social media content relies on heuristic algorithms, and meta language is today the most common tool to build that kind of algorithm. Yesterday morning, Libby Emmons shared a thread to summarize what she now calls a mass reporting incident. I have links in the description to the first, third, and fifth tweets, which should be all you need. To repeat, Elon Musk disclaimed any desire to suspend these accounts. That leaves three possibilities: U.S. intelligence community sleepers, the Twitter algorithm, or bots from Ukraine. Naturally, Elon, or whoever replaces him as CEO, will have to ferret out all three. But of the three, Ukraine has the most obvious motive. Lastly, I'm going to close with a certain proverb that we get from a French writer. Do any of you know a Frenchman named Alexandre Dumas? Or how about a book called The Count of Monte Cristo? Well, on two occasions in that novel, Dumas quotes a proverb that he says is an aphorism of French justice. Actually, I think Dumas coined it himself. And it reads, and I quote, "Seek whom the crime would profit." That's what we got to do now. Link in the description of the article to the two videos describing that flag incident in the House of Representatives, to Bowtied Ranger's first tweet, to Jack Posobiec's first report, to 5 more tweets reporting the same thing or expressing dismay at the raft of suspensions, to a dialogue between Posobiec and Musk, to a thread by Colin Rugg, to 3 reports that Libby Emmons gathered, to Kristen Ruby saying the answer is in the ML, to Libby Emmons' thread, to my Declarations of Truth Twitter account, and to Conservative News and Views. I've also left links to the awesome CNAV Store and to rsilverlies.com, as I also mentioned. You know already about how to like a video, turn on notifications, and leave a tip. On the end screen, I'm going to leave a subscribe link to my channel and links to my Twitter Files playlist and to the Officer Tatum's commentary on that kissing scene in the House of Representatives. This is Terry A. Hurlbut delivering another declaration of truth and reminding you to let the truth set you free.